Right then, people, we're back inside the building. Just gone 3 minutes past 9 here. This is Breakfast with Kovu. We are live on Trickstar Radio, and we're going to be getting into a fantastic interview next. We're going to be talking to Formosa about the Mental Health In Grime podcast, everything it represents and everything in between. So, how are you doing this morning?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. It's good to have you on the show. We've had this one locked in for quite a while now. I think it's been in the book for like sort of 3-4 weeks, and it's one that I've been kind of pondering about, primarily because I've been kind of trying to think about the best way to kind of get the most information out of this. And do you know what I settled on? I settled on the idea that I'm pretty much just going to kind of pass it over to yourself and go, I want you to explain exactly what this podcast is. So for those that aren't aware, what is the Mental Health In Grime podcast?
So Mental Health In Grime is a podcast about talking to grime artists about their mental health primarily, not just their personal mental health, but also about mental health related to the grime scene, their experiences as an artist, things like that.
Okay, cool. So like, how long has it been up and running now?
So it started in May during lockdown, and the last episode of the first season finished around June, end of June.
Okay. So when you say season then, like, is that something you kind of planned on doing from the start when you set it up? Did you like have this idea of a certain amount of episodes, or has it just kind of worked out that way?
So no, it's just kind of worked out that way. I ended up doing 12 episodes, and I thought I'd rather leave it on a high. So I think most people think that there's not going to be anything more to do with it, but surprise, there is. I'm going to have more episodes, and there's going to be another season.
Amazing, man. So kind of with this then, just going back to the beginning of how the podcast came together, obviously I feel lockdown was a difficult time for a lot of people. It was also a time in which we saw a lot of projects start up. We saw a lot of creative people kind of dive into this bag of, okay, I'm going to work with what I've got here. Was this something you kind of had in mind to do before lockdown hit, or was it purely built out of lockdown being the situation it was?
So how it came about is I work with a online platform called Mental Movement Magazine, and I wanted to write something for them, combined with the mental health stuff that I do and the music writing that I do in the grime scene. So we actually came up with the idea together to do something with grime artists, and it just so happened that we suggested video, and Insta Live was the perfect way to do it because obviously we were on lockdown, no one could go anywhere. That's how it came about. Okay,
cool. So it's been, so it seems more than anything else, it seems like it's very much a product of the times more than anything else.
Yeah, definitely. I think that had we not been on lockdown, I'm not sure it would have gone the way it would have gone. I think that it's perfect as it is as an Insta Live series, and I wouldn't have it any other way, to be honest.
Wicked, man. That's good. And I think it's kind of good that you've kind of found the kind of perfect format for it quite quickly as well, because it means you can, rather than focusing in on the sort of structure and things like that, you can more focus in on who you're going to get on, how it's going to grow, and the exciting stuff, I suppose.
Yeah, exactly. Definitely that. It's more about the guests and what they've got to say as opposed to the medium with which we broadcast it from.
Definitely. I think, something I'm sure a lot of people will be keen to hear is when we kind of look through the artists that you've had involved, do you want to run through the sort of people that have got involved with the platform so far?
Yeah, we've had Manga, we've had SBK, we've had K9, we've had Tommy B, which was a good one. Tommy B is actually the most interactive episode that we've had, so people seem to have liked that one the best, and that was the last one. We've also had DJ Kaylee K, we've had DJ JOZ. There's a few more, but off the top of my head, those are the ones I can remember. Okay,
cool. So it seems, just from the names you've kind of said there, it doesn't seem like it's just stuck to pretty much being just MCs then. You've kind of got producers on there, you've got DJs as well.
Yeah, definitely. I didn't want to stick to just MCs. I think that the grime scene as a whole is obviously made up of different types of artists, and I think different types of artists bring different types of experience, and mental health is in many different forms, and I couldn't just stick to one medium of artists. I needed to speak to a broad range of people.
Definitely. No, I 100% agree, and I feel something that I think a few people found not necessarily surprising, but people were kind of intrigued by is obviously grime is quite, I'm trying to think of the best way to describe this. I feel grime is quite like a closed genre, shall we say. We don't tend to see a lot of people kind of online discussing how what they're kind of going through at the time. It all tends to be a little bit behind closed doors, a little bit kind of, you'll see kind of nuances of things online, but you never really find out like too much about stories. And obviously people have personal business, and I completely understand that. But did you, in the process of putting it together, did you kind of expect to have the response from the artists you were getting involved?
No, I never. And you're right. Grime is a closed genre, if I may say. I think that we are very kind of secluded and kind of just get on with it. And there's kind of no behind the scenes type kind of things going on. And I was quite surprised that the few people that I asked actually wanted to do it. And I actually ended up putting a tweet out once someone had kind of missed an episode and I needed to reschedule. And then I got feedback from people wanting to do it. So I think that the feedback that I've had, which has been really, really positive, I think it's based on the back of that, of Grime not being so open and kind of speaking on a conversation that people didn't expect to hear about.
Definitely, man. I mean, to an extent, it seems like it's almost like putting a pin into a balloon, you know, because the pressure's so like tight and there's nothing really happening in this sort of with this kind of approach. So as soon as something does actually happen, it's almost like, oh, finally, there's something that can happen in this sort of department.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess I don't know why no one's thought to do it before, but I guess, and it all depends on the guests, so I can't even take any credit for that. It all depends on people that want to do it. So the guests that I've had have been, you know, open. Some have told me like personal things, and I'm grateful for them to come onto the platform and kind of showcase themselves in that way and kind of open up. So without them, it wouldn't be what it is. So yeah.
Wicked, man. I mean, obviously we've seen the growth of the platform. We've seen it kind of. I feel it's at a point now where it really is starting to kind of pick up steam in regards to people are very much aware of it. If you say literally Mental Health In Grime as a podcast, people are aware of the platform, even if they haven't had a chance to listen yet. It definitely feels like you're now at somewhat of an established point quite quickly.
Yeah, I guess so. Could say that. I'm being a bit modest. I don't know. I'm not sure. But it's definitely something of a niche. So if you say Mental Health In Grime, people will know it from that because there's nothing like it. So definitely. Yeah, I'll kind of take that.
Yeah, I mean, you're very right in what you said. It's almost like kind of assigning keywords to it. You kind of got Mental Health Grime. There's only there aren't going to be that many results that kind of pop up. No. This is going to be the main kind of one.
Definitely.
I think then with that, then something I'm sure people will be quite keen to kind of hear with your experiences in kind of hosting this podcast so far is what have been the biggest surprises so far for you? Like, what have been the things that have really stuck out and you've gone, okay, wow, I wasn't expecting that?
Biggest surprises have been, probably one off the top of my head would be Tommy B talking about alcohol and drug addiction.
Okay.
Another one was Funk Butcher I had on was talking about kind of early days in pirate radio and kind of beef between artists and how that made certain people feel, and kind of noticing how people were feeling in that situation. And by that I mean kind of noticing that people have been anxious about things, people have been depressed about things, and kind of everyone kind of dealing with that and maybe turning a blind eye to that, not knowing how to deal with it.
Definitely.
Also, another one was K9 I had on. He was quite nervous before the interview, and kind of when we got online, he actually admitted how nervous he was. And that was quite a deep one because we talked about the loss of his loved ones quite a bit, so that was quite deep.
Definitely, man. I mean, just to interject there. Sorry, I feel. I mean, when you're doing these kind of interviews, I feel that it's you kind of almost have to expect kind of that level of instantaneous deepness and nerves, like to an extent.
To be honest, I don't know how it's going to go. So I just ask the questions, and it's them that give me the answers. And if they want to give me kind of closed answers, they can. If they want to give me open answers, they can. I never know how it's going to go. I just write the questions. Some of them don't even see the questions beforehand, and I just come on. And I'm nervous, if I'm honest. This is kind of the first thing I've done, kind of online with using video kind of thing, so no one kind of knew how I spoke, what I was like. So I guess so. Then if I'm nervous, I guess they should be, but they know what they're going to share. Remember, I don't. So.
Yeah, no, that's very true. It's it just the whole thing of it's been really kind of exciting to watch from the sidelines, and I definitely feel there's going to be I would suspect anyway, there's probably like a queue of people who haven't really got into the right sort of mind frame to almost ask to come on. I definitely feel there's going to be the more people that get involved in it, I feel there'll be more and more people that then kind of go, you know what, I definitely feel that's something I should do.
Yeah, I think so. I think it comes down to the type of guests you have. So people see who's getting involved and how many guests you have. So they've seen They've seen Manga get involved, they've seen Tommy B get involved, they've seen those kind of names, and they've kind of think, well, this is something I can speak on, maybe I can get involved. And they've seen what they've been talking about, and obviously if they have similar experiences, they feel they have something to share, they're going to think, yeah, I'm going to jump on board.
Amazing, man. Well, what we're going to do is we're going to break this interview up now, and we're going to jump into the second half of it in just a second. You have sent over a couple of tunes. We're going to get into one of them right about now. Sounds of Jake Bob on this one, track entitled That's True. It's produced by Tubbs. Just gone 13 minutes past 9 here. We're live on the line with El Formosa. This is Breakfast with Kovu on Trickstar Radio.
Breakfast with CubCamTV.
Trickstar Radio.